My father was a coal miner. All my brothers were coal miners, including myself. And I resent Winston having problems with coal miners in Wales.
Charles Bronson's family is finally revealing the truth we've all suspected. Get ready to uncover the secrets behind the legendary actor's life and career. Don't miss what's coming up next. Charles Bronson's early years. Born Charles Dennis Wojcinski on November 3, 1921, in the little Pennsylvanian hamlet of Ehrenfield, Pennsylvania. Charles Bronson had a difficult background that would determine his future. Living in extreme poverty were his family, immigrants from Lithuania. Ehrenfield was a coal mining town, and Bronson's father, to support his family, labored ceaselessly in the mines. Bronson was thrown into the hard reality of life in the coal mining town early on, working with his father to help with expenses. Unceasing effort marked his childhood. The coal mines were far from perfect conditions and were physically taxing as well as dangerous. Young Charles spent many hours in the mines, working hard at tasks that affect his body and spirit. Bronson dreamed outside of his austere environment, despite these challenges, appearing to find something better than the life he had known. He imagined a life free from the coal dust and the cacophony of the mining business. Curious how Bronson's challenging childhood shaped his iconic on-screen presence? Stay tuned to uncover the influence of his early life. Early Bronson's life was not only physically demanding. The constant pressures of the coal mining life imbued him with a tenacity and toughness that would define his acting career later. His upbringing imbued in him a tenacity and will that carried into maturity. Though Ehrenfield offered few possibilities, Bronson's aspirations beyond the boundaries of his little community. His experiences during these early years greatly helped to define his personality and eventual job path. Bronson returned to normal life following World War II, where he flew as an aerial gunner and received a Purple Heart. The conflict had left its own set of difficulties, hence the change was tough. Establishing a consistent career turned out to be difficult. Bronson worked in a factory and drove trucks, among other positions, trying to make ends meet. The instability and lack of fulfillment in these occupations only served to heighten his ambition to follow his own calling, acting. His wartime memories and the challenges he encountered thereafter strengthened his will to succeed in Hollywood. Wondering how a war hero's quest for stability led to a new career path? Discover the surprising steps Bronson took to become an actor. Bronson's trip to New York City was a turning point in his life that was absolutely vital. Driven to be an actor, he registered in acting seminars and committed himself to his trade. Early years in New York were difficult. Bronson battled to land major roles and frequently played small parts on television and theater. Success escaped him for a period, even with his commitment and diligence. The acting business is competitive, hence getting through was no simple task, and Bronson experienced several rejections. Bronson chose to move to Hollywood in the early 1950s in search of advancement of his acting profession. His first Hollywood encounters were not all that glitzy. He kept fighting, landing primarily little parts that highlighted his tough guy demeanor, but didn't bring him celebrity. Bronson encountered the hard reality of trying to establish himself in a business full with aspirant performers. The city of dreams was not instantly friendly to him. How did a new identity help Bronson overcome early career struggles? Find out how a name change set him on a path to stardom. Bronson took a crucial choice in 1954 to go from Wojcinski to Bronson as his stage name. The anti-communist attitude of the time drove some actors to change their names in order to escape bad connotations. The move opened Hollywood's fresh avenues and let Bronson separate himself from any possible reputation. Bronson started to get more noticed and chances with his new identity. His unique appearance and strong presence started to draw the attention of casting directors and producers. Bronson had his debut in the 1960 movie, The Magnificent Seven. He gave Bernardo O'Reilly, a character in this iconic Western, much-needed attention. Bronson's performance distinguished even though he was a part of an ensemble group. His strong screen presence and tough appeal captivated the viewers and signaling the start of his ascent to popularity. In his career, this performance marked a turning point and prepared him for further triumphs. What role catapulted Bronson from minor roles to Hollywood stardom? Discover the film that launched his career to new heights. For Bronson, the popularity of The Magnificent Seven marked a sea change. Hollywood started to see his leading man potential. His talent and charm in the movie attracted additional important and varied parts. Bronson's tough guy reputation grew solid as he began to be known as a major actor. This part served as the impetus for a run of hit movies that would define his career and solidify his place in Hollywood. Bronson's standing went beyond Hollywood by the middle of the 1960s. Entering European film, he starred in movies such as The Dirty Dozen and Guns for San Sebastian. Still, his performance in Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968, really helped him to become an international sensation. Under Sergio Leone's direction, Bronson was a mysterious harmonics. The popularity of the movie in Europe confirmed his reputation as a big celebrity across the continent, therefore establishing him in nations such as France and Italy. Wondering how a single film made Bronson an international sensation? Find out how Once Upon a Time in the West transformed his career. One of the major turning points in Bronson's career was Once Upon a Time in the West's global success. His performance of harmonics connected with viewers all around, therefore stressing his range and depth as an actor. The popularity of the movie not only broadened his audience, but also made him a great worldwide star. Bronson's talent and tenacity defined his path from a poor actor to a revered movie star. Rise to fame. The remarkable story of tenacity and talent that Charles Bronson's climb to popularity tells is one born Charles Dennis Baczynski on November 3, 1921, in Ehrenfield, Pennsylvania. He began his career in Hollywood following name change and working his way up through several parts. Many pivotal roles that launched him to glory define his path from struggling actor to a Hollywood icon. Bronson's career had one of its turning points in his part in The Great Escape. John Sturges directed this movie, which starred Steve McQueen and James Gardner, among others. Bronson portrayed Danny Walensky, a Polish-American POW, with a flair for getting out of trying circumstances. His role was smart, strong, and absolutely essential to the escape scheme of the movie. Bronson became well-known in Hollywood after his performance was commended for its realism and roughness. The popularity of the movie not only helped his career, but also proved his capacity to manage demanding, action-packed parts. Bronson also performed a major part in John Sturges's 1960 The Magnificent Seven. Remaking Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai, this classic Western had Bronson as Link, one of 7 gunfighters recruited to guard a Mexican community from bandits. Understated but effective, Bronson's performance of Link reflected his ability to depict depth and strength without overloading the screen. The movie was a big hit and solidified Bronson's reputation as a Western actor of note. But Bronson's career really was defined by Death Wish, 1974. Under Michael Winner's direction, Bronson plays Paul Kersey, an architect turned vigilante, following the murder of his wife and the attack of his daughter by criminals. A big office hit, Death Wish became a cultural monument. Raw and forceful, Bronson's performance of Kersey followed the character's development from a calm professional to a force of vengeance. The movie became a landmark in the vigilante subgenre, since viewers related to its themes of justice and retribution. In addition to making Bronson a household name, his performance defined him as the archetypical action hero of his day. But what made these roles so memorable? What aspects of Bronson's performance made them stand out so much? Keep watching to discover the elements that contributed to his legendary status. Personal life of Charles Bronson. The personal life of Charles Bronson was characterized by great successes as well as major conflicts. His life and work were much enhanced by his personal relationships, especially his marriage to actress Jill Ireland. In the early 1960s, Bronson and Ireland met, and their connection became a pillar of his personal life. Married in 1968, they stayed together until Ireland's death in 1990. Their marriage was not just a personal one, but also a business one, since Ireland starred in multiple films with Bronson, and her impact was clear in his career decisions. Though Bronson was a quiet person, his on-screen image sometimes dominated his personal life. Though he presented a tough guy persona, he kept quite a low profile off-screen and was quite close to his family. This intimate aspect gave his public character more complexity and helped to add to his mystery. Bronson's career was not without controversy either. Death Wish, 1974, provoked a lot of discussion because of its violent and vigilantist ideas. Critics contend that the movie supported risky ideals about justice and honored vengeance. Paul Kersey's representation as a vigilante hero, wielding the law into his own hands, spurred debates on the morality of vigilantism and how it shapes society's perception of justice. Bronson supported the movie despite the uproar, saying it reflected the dissatisfaction many people had about the criminal justice system. He contended that the movie was designed to be a fictitious investigation of a guy driven to extremes by personal sorrow, not a manifesto. Bronson's career also generated another interesting debate over his on-set reputation. Bronson, who was known for his strong and occasionally hostile attitude, was allegedly to have clashed with co-stars and directors. Stories of his on-set behavior range from tales of his being unresponsive to situations where his professional contacts suffered. Notwithstanding these claims, Bronson's commitment to his trade and his capacity for explosive performance were indisputable. In his public life as much as his professional one, his no-nonsense attitude defined him. These debates further muddled Bronson's reputation. Yet his contribution to movies were still major. He changed Hollywood permanently and came to represent the action hero subgenre. Even now, people recall his passionate and impactful performances in movies like Death Wish and The Magnificent Seven, despite ongoing discussions over their subjects. You won't believe the real story behind these controversies. What really happened behind the scenes and how did it affect his career? Stay tuned to uncover the truth. The influence of Charles Bronson on movies is tremendous. His performance in westerns and action movies defined the genre and raised fresh benchmarks for what it meant to be an action hero. He was a legendary person with a unique voice and tough appearance, and his performances still inspire directors and actors. Bronson's adaptability and fortitude define his legacy. He stayed a major player in Hollywood in spite of typecasting and industry obstacles. His breadth as an actor was shown by his ability to adapt and occupy several parts, from sophisticated characters to action heroes. Still set standards for the genres he worked in. His performances in Death Wish and The Great Escape still inspire younger filmmakers. Though less often reported, Bronson's personal life also adds to his legacy. His marriage to Jill Ireland and his commitment to his family revealed a different side to the tough guy image he presented on television. His public persona gained complexity, and he became a more fascinating person because of his private nature and dedication to his family. As we reflect on Charles Bronson's remarkable career and complex personal life, it's clear that his story is far from ordinary. What are the lasting lessons we could learn from his journey? Health and aging. Charles Bronson's later years. Charles Bronson's later years. Born Charles Dennis Buchansky on November 3, 1921. Charles Bronson is well known for his intense on-screen presence and explosive performances. Benevolent beneath the tough guy exterior, though. Beneath the tough guy exterior, though, was the challenges of a man confronting the unavoidable effects of aging and medical problems. Bronson started to show symptoms of deterioration as he approached the 1990s. Renowned for executing numerous of his own stunts, the actor began to struggle physically. His physique suffered from the demanding nature of his action roles, which resulted in persistent discomfort and tiredness. Arthritis, a disorder brought on by the physical strain of his performing profession, particularly troubled him and got worse with time. Bronson's health problems started to stand out by the 1980s. The rigors of action-packed roles seriously taxed his body. Arthritis' agony and anguish started to interfere with his daily life. And his once vigorous on-screen performance started to wane. Bronson still committed himself to his trade nonetheless. Though he was always committed to performing, it became abundantly evident that his physical restrictions were determining the kinds of parts he could play. Bronson's health issues surfaced more clearly in the 1990s. A sequence of mild strokes gradually affected his ability to speak and move with the agility he once possessed. These motions affected his career as much as his physical condition. The once dynamic action star was now facing major health issues influencing his career path. Bronson kept working on movies despite these obstacles. His roles started to be less regular and less physically taxing. Movies like Death Wish 5, The Face of Death, 1994, signaled a change in his work. These later roles, which included less forceful action and more quiet performances, mirrored his weakening health. As he grew older, his career naturally changed, but the health problems he suffered directly caused his change as well. Bronson's public appearances also grew less regular over time. The obvious indicator of his struggle with health issues balanced his tough guy image developed over the years. His early career was vivid, but his later years were quite opposite. The public's view of him changed when supporters and the media observed the shift. Now perceived in a more subdued light, the once unbeatable action star reflected the difficulties of aging. Want to know how Bronson's personal battles with health changed his public image? Discover more in the next section. Charles Bronson's legacy endured even with the physical and mental obstacles. His previous work still received praise, and he was honored for his contributions to the motion picture business. Even if his career veered differently because of his worsening health, the influence of his earlier roles stayed great. Bronson's narrative highlights the emotional and physical toll of a rigorous career, which also attested to his tenacity and professionalism. Bronson's performance in films dropped as his health problems were more noticeable. His career underwent a major transformation when he moved from action-packed roles to less physically taxing parts. This change reflected the health issues that had grown more evident over time, as much as it did aging. Curious about how Bronson's health struggles influenced his film roles? Keep watching to uncover the full story. Bronson's health declining compromised not only his work, but also his public image. His aged body suddenly confronted him with the robust and athletic image he had created. Once his signature was compromised, his ability to carry out the intense action scenes suffered. That shift did not diminish his legacy, though. Instead, it highlighted the challenges of a work defined by physical demands and the perseverance required to meet them. Bronson definitely dedicated himself to his trade, even though his health declined. His devotion to working on film projects, in spite of physical limitations, exposed his passion of performing. The disparity between his early work and his later years underlined the main aspect of his condition on his career. Despite considerable challenges, Bronson's contributions to movies remain notable and appreciated. Find out how Charles Bronson's struggle with aging influenced his final years in the industry. Stay tuned. It became abundantly evident when considering Charles Bronson's path that his final years were greatly shaped by his health and aging. His difficulties were evidence of the physical toll of rigorous career takes. Still, his legend endured, honored for his potent performances and ongoing impact on the motion picture business. Bronson's narrative exposes a great deal about his tenacity and character. He stayed committed to his work in spite of major health issues, and his influence on movies was still felt. Though they were major concerns on his final years, aging and health problems did not define his contribution to films. You won't believe how Bronson's later years shaped his career and public image. Discover the full story as we go deeper into his legacy. Marked by health issues and aging, Charles Bronson's life and career offer a striking view of the emotional and physical toll of a hard vocation. His tenacity and will to perform in spite of obstacles show the ongoing force of his contributions to movies. The difference between his early and later years highlights how aging shapes even the most powerful movie stars. Ready to learn how Bronson's health issues influence his final roles and his lasting impact on cinema? Keep watching. Family Secrets Revealed: The Untold Story of Charles Bronson. New revelations from Charles Bronson's family have created a more complex picture of the great actor in the years following his passing. His daughter, Zuleika Bronson, has amongst the most exposing voices. She has freely revealed the personal hardships her father experienced, providing a viewpoint much different from the tough guy image he presented on film. Zuleika's stories offer a glimpse into the physical and emotional struggles Bronson went through. The physical and emotional struggles Bronson went through, which profoundly impacted his family as well as him. According to Zuleika, Bronston's health problems were more severe and affecting a public job with personal life. Want to know more about the dynamics? Want to know more about the dynamics of Bronston's personal life and his relationship with Jill Ireland? Keep watching to discover more intimate details. Beyond his career, Bronson's family has told personal tales, emphasizing many sides of his nature. One interesting narrative relates to his painstaking attitude to his work. His relatives said, Bronston was renowned for his great commitment to his roles, often spending hours getting ready for a role. He would become engrossed in study and rehearsal. Sometimes this commitment caused him to spend time apart from his family, since he concentrated just on honing his trade. Still, his family admitted that his real enthusiasm and need to give sincere performances drove his dedication to acting. This commitment highlights Bronson's degree of participation in his profession and exposes a side of him strongly dedicated to his trade. Discover more about Bronston's dedication to his roles and how it affected his family life. Stay tuned to uncover more hidden facets of his character. Another story from Bronson's family highlights his love of the great outdoors. Often, his family would discuss how he would escape Hollywood's pressures by entering the wilderness. Bronston greatly enjoyed hunting and fishing, since they helped him find peace and reconnect with himself. Many of the times he spent with his family outside, they remember reflecting a different side of him. These happy and leisureful times contrast with his tough guy approach on film, revealing a more sensitive and peaceful side of Bronston. Are you intrigued by Bronston's love for the outdoors and how it shaped his private life? Keep watching to learn more about his personal interests and escapes. Bronson's family has also helped him to see his duties as a father and husband. Despite the demands of his career, he was said to be a loving and encouraging parent. The memories of warmth and love his family had during get-togethers and special events revealed his sympathetic nature. These autobiographical stories show Bronston as a man who, despite his often austere on-screen persona, possessed a deep sensitivity and affection off-screen. His contrasting public persona and personal life helps us to better understand him. You won't believe the most surprising family secrets that have come to light. Discover more about Bronston's personal life and the hidden details that have emerged. Bronson's family admissions create a nuanced picture of the man behind the famous roles. His life is seen more holistically, from his health issues, personal relationships, and private times. His daughter, Zuleika, and his second wife, Jill Ireland's story help one to better appreciate the difficulties Bronson encountered and the costs he paid. Legacy and impact. Being one of the most famous action stars in movies, Charles Bronson's legacy in film and society is significant. Over several decades, his career evolved, and he grew to represent the tough guy image that enthralled viewers all around. Bronston left a lasting impression on Hollywood and worldwide movies, as well as redefining the action genre, therefore influencing the motion picture business. Bronson started his career in small parts, but made his breakthrough with The Magnificent Seven, 1960. The movie not only displayed his ability, but also prepared him for his next triumphs. His performance as Bernardo O'Reilly exposed viewers to his distinctive on-screen presence, which would define his work. This performance launched him into the spotlight and cleared the path for a run of unforgettable shows defining his career. How did Bronson's early roles shape his legendary status? Discover the turning points that solidified his place in film history. Bronson rose to become a major player in action movies over the 1970s and 1980s. His performances in films including Death Wish, 1970, and its successors helped him to become the archetypical action hero. Particularly, the Death Wish series connected with viewers because of its honest portrayal of vigilante punishment. Bronson's legendary performance of Paul Kersey changed the genre and set a new benchmark for action stars. His position as a vigilante who grabs justice into his own hands represented the cultural obsession with the idea of retribution and connected with society's fears. Bronson's influence went beyond his particular performances. His tough guy image and unique approach affected a generation of filmmakers and performers. For action heroes who came after him, his strict attitude and strong screen presence set standards. The genre changed as many later movies and performers drew on Bronson's work. Action movies have evolved with components of his style and ideas included into contemporary film, therefore reflecting his influence. Fascinated how Bronson's legacy affected contemporary action movies? See how his impact still echoes through Hollywood now. Peer and critic reflections and tributes provide insight into Bronson's legacy going forward. Filmmakers and fellow performers have repeatedly complimented his commitment and original contribution to movies. His contemporary and sometimes rival, Clint Eastwood, admitted Bronson's influence on the genre. Eastwood praised Bronson's mastery of the screen and delivery of striking performance. Directors like Michael Winner, who collaborated with Bronson, also frequently praised his expertise and dedication to his assignments. Though usually typecast as a strong guy, critics have pointed out Bronson's ability to give his characters complexity. Audiences could relate to his calm intensity and genuineness in his performances. This critical praise captures his ability as well as the respect he received in the business. Bronson's movies are revered for their impact on the action genre and their contribution to cinema long after his death. How have peers and critics viewed Bronson's career? Find out what they have to say about his remarkable legacy. The effect of Bronson in popular culture may be seen in a variety of various forms of media. As a result of the fact that his films continue to be quite enticing, new generation of fans frequently watch them again. The cultural significance of his work is seen in the enduring esteem that his films have received and the ongoing arguments that have taken place over his contributions to the genre. The legacy of Bronson extends beyond the realm of his films and encompasses the greater cultural landscape. As a result, it has an effect on how action heroes are portrayed and how they are received. Due to the fact that Bronson's style and ideas continue to be appealing, contemporary film reveals the echoes of his impact. His work has served as a source of inspiration for contemporary action films, which incorporate elements of his tough guy image and narrative tactics. In light of the fact that Charles Bronson's legacy is evidence of his continued effect on film and culture, it is important to note that this industry continues to have that requirement. In spite of the fact that Charles Bronson's life and work have been widely documented, there are still a number of unanswered questions and speculations that continue to captivate viewers and researchers. The inclusion of these hypothetical elements lends his story an air of mystique, which in turn provokes discussions about the mystery surrounding his life and his line of work. There is a viewpoint that is frequently acknowledged that revolves on Bronson's actual level of participation in the film industry. There are some supporters who have the hypothesis that there were roles or contributions that were never made officially and were never appreciated. Taking this perspective into consideration, it is possible that Bronson took part in some behind-the-scenes or project-based actions that are not well known. These kinds of speculations contribute to the mystery surrounding his work and leave room for further investigation into his professional accomplishments. What hidden aspects of Bronson's career remain a mystery? Discover the theories and unanswered questions that keep fans intrigued. Personal life of Bronson is another topic of conjecture. Not well-known hypotheses regarding his relationship and personal affairs have existed. For instance, some supporters question how his early upbringing and military duty affect his personal connections. These hypotheses propose that Bronson's experiences might have shaped his relationship and choices in less completely recorded ways. Sometimes Bronson's own words and interviews suggest more intimate facets of his life and personality. Some of his remarks and observations have sparked rumors regarding his actual emotions and experiences. This lends another level of intricacy to his public character and encourages more research on the guy behind the on-screen persona. Thank you for watching. For more exclusive insights and intriguing stories, check out our other videos. Click now to dive deeper into the lives of your favorite stars.